Welcome to the Agility in Real Life podcast, Take 5 in Real Life. Now your hosts, Mike Studeman, Jeff Lee, and Pat Campbell.
Hello and welcome back to the take5IRL podcast. I'm Jeff Lee, a partner at agilityIRL and one of your hosts.
And I'm Pat Campbell, partner at agilityIRL and the other host today.
All right. Well, as you hopefully saw, our previous episode was starting to talk about portfolio management and transitioning into lean portfolio management. We're going to get a little bit more into that. But first talking about this whole concept of project portfolio management, like what it is, what's the point? Pat, you want to start the conversation?
Well, as we mentioned in our previous episode, really trying to balance that unlimited demand on a company's resources for improvements, enhancements, and so forth, with some limitation based on an effective prioritization. What are the company's needs? What are the customer needs, and so forth. And the challenge is that it's never been done effectively in any of the companies that I've seen. I mean, some examples.
Small problem.
For example, project proposals are surfaced by independent groups in the company without thought about what is a strategic direction or what are the customer needs. They often start out as just a good idea, a solution in search of a need, and let's get this funded. Or proposers may or may not be clearly aware of what are the company's strategic objectives and goals. And sometimes the projects really only help a single department as opposed to the corporation, and that's why the department comes up with a proposal. And sometimes financial considerations are an afterthought. So these are some of the reasons that it's been difficult for implementation of PPM, or project portfolio management.
Yeah, I see. Not only is it hard to get alignment with all of these ideas that come up with the overall company objectives, goals, vision, all of these things, strategy, of course. A lot of times it's difficult to get companies to really identify what those things are, right? What is our strategy as a company? As you're thinking of projects and what you want to be doing as an organization, start there, right? Where are we trying to go? What are our goals for this year? What value are we trying to provide as an organization? And if you don't know that, hopefully someone in the organization does.
Yeah, you're exactly right. That's kind of the top end of the problem, and those that I was describing are kind of the lower end. But you mentioned a key word there, the value. And a lot of times when these projects are being dreamed up, the value is kind of an afterthought, when in fact a company is a group of value streams, from some kind of trigger when a customer has a need to the delivery of that value to satisfy that need. And we lose sight of that. And PPM doesn't well align with it. And so some new approaches to portfolio management have been kicked around, one of which is leveraging the term and the concepts of lean, which we learned back in the 70s and 80s. And it's called lean portfolio management, which sets out to try to address some of these things some of these limitations we've just been talking about.
I want to rewind you just a little bit. You threw out the term value stream. We understand what value is, right? It's something that benefits our customers, our company. Why do we use this stream metaphor? What's the value stream?
Well, there's even another version of that called value chain that was very popular. But basically, it's what is that set of steps from beginning to end that starts with a customer need of some type, whether it's an internal or external customer. What is that set of steps we go through in order to deliver something of value, again, internally or externally, whether it's a service or a physical object? And that's what we call the value stream. And there's external value streams, which is delivery of our service or product to our external customers. And then there's internal value streams, because you have support organizations delivering some kind of service or capability to internal partners. One of those value streams internally is technology. And that's what we're often talking about when we talk about portfolios of delivery.
All right, so we're talking lean portfolio management, coming up to that, kind of umbrella term again. What do you want to leave our listeners with from this episode around lean portfolio management specifically?
Sure. Well, it's tied to the concept of value delivery, and in as much it's tied to the concept of delivery of a product life cycle, not a project life cycle. So this is probably what's going to bother them until the next podcast, is what's the difference between those two. That's one of the key differences, one of the fundamental differences that we'll be talking about with lean portfolio management, is looking at how we manage that delivery effort, the delivery life cycle across a product life cycle, and not just a temporary project.
All right. So as people are anxiously waiting for that next episode, I know you have a favorite reference on that project to product mentality.
Yeah, there's a great book by a gentleman called Mick Kirsten, M-I-K, and Kirsten, K-E-R-S-T-E-N. And he wrote a book actually titled From Project to Product. And it's not a long book, but it will give you pause in terms of how you've thought about delivery of projects in the past, and how you may want to think about instead delivery of products in the future.
All right. Well, with that, it's a great setup. Gives people a week here to go out and check out the book, come fully prepared for the next episode. We will not be checking prerequisites for the next episode, so it's okay if you don't get the book. You can still come to enjoy the next episode. But until then, thanks for joining us. Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Take5IRL podcast. If you like it, please go ahead and share it with someone, as well as like and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. We are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Also, leave us a comment or a suggestion for a future episode. Again, thanks for listening, and we look forward to you joining us next time on the Take5IRL podcast.